The film opens at the Acropolis Historical Center in Athens, Greece. Two goddesses, Hespera, Helen Mirren, and Kalypso, Lucy Liu, moreover known as the Girls of Chart Book, enter and come upon the broken staff of the wizard Shazam, Jimin Hunsu. They break the case holding the staff pieces and each get one half, imbuing them with its powers. Kalypso employs her control of intellect control to induce all the historical center supporters to start assaulting each other. Sometime recently Hespera employs her powers to unleash an component that turns everybody to stone. The goddesses at that point state that it is time for them to go after the champions of this domain. Billy Batson, Asher Blessed Messenger, goes to the office of his pediatrician, P.J. Byrne, in his Shazam, Zachary Levi, frame. He feels that he isn't living up to his genuine potential as a superhero and feels that his family is floating separated from him. He and his Shazam family have moreover not been seen as exceptionally super within the eyes of their city, as they have been named the Philadelphia Fiascos. Billy returns domestic to his kin. He plays diversions with Eugene, Ian Chen, whereas Pedro, Jovan Armand, has taken an intrigue in baseball, for the players themselves. Mary, Elegance Caroline Curry, has remained domestic from college and works to pay lease. And Darla, Faith Herman, remains her normal cheerful and playful self. Freddy, Jack Dylan Nibbler, tends go off on his claim with his superhero persona, Adam Brody, calling himself Captain Every Power. Billy and Freddy catch news of inconvenience going on within the city. And whereas Freddy needs for the two of them to require care of things, Billy calls upon his kin to connect them and take on their claim shapes, Megan Great as Darla, DJ Cotrona as Pedro, and Ross Butler as Eugene. The kin too proceed to keep their superhero characters a mystery from Victor and Rosa, Cooper Andrews and Marta Milans. The Benjamin Franklin Bridge is beginning to come separated. Individuals start abandoning their cars in a freeze. Sometime recently the Shazam family arrives and gets individuals to security. They oversee to spare everybody, but in spite of their heroics, they come up short to halt the bridge from totally collapsing. And they are still called the Philly Fiascos. Shazam accumulates the kin at their Shake of Eternity hideout, but they each have their possess commitments to urge to. Mary remains to conversation to him around how he has got to acknowledge that things are changing with the family, which it can be time for him to move on as well. Within the domain of the divine beings, the wizard is detained in a cell after apparently biting the dust after exchanging his powers to Billy. He is met by Hespera and Kalypso, who constrain him to repair the staff. The staff was the as it were thing keeping the girls of Chart Book from entering the human domain. And after it was annihilated, they came for exact retribution as they consider the wizard a backstabber for working against Map Book. At Tall School, Freddy bumps into an unused young lady, and Rachel Zegler. He quickly gets to be stricken with her, and she appears inquisitive about him. But the minute is demolished by bonehead bully brothers Brett and Burke Breyer, Carson McCormick and Evan Bogg. In spite of them, and lets Freddy walk her to class, and he realizes he incorporates a pulverize. Billy encompasses a dream that he is Shazam on a date with Ponder Lady. Sometime recently the wizard takes her appearance, which creeps Billy out, so that he may caution Billy around the girls of Map Book and what they are arranging to do. But he is debilitated. Sometime recently he can tell Billy how to halt them. Billy afterward goes to caution his kin approximately the potential risk. At the Rock of Endlessness, the kin, Short Freddy, learn that the girls of Chart Book watch the Tree of Life, which produces brilliant apples that contain the seeds of life, and they too have a mythical winged serpent at their transfer. Pedro appears them a mystery room full of archives and books on different enchantment artifacts, in conjunction with a were-plume named Steve, who coordinates them to the books they ought to discover on the girls. They find that it was Billy's blame for the boundary between universes being broken, since he was the one that broke the staff when they battled Dr. Savannah. The kin too learn almost Hespera, Kalypso, and a third sister, Anthea, aka N. Billy knows Freddy is an inconvenience. Freddy meets with Anthea on the roof of the school, where he needs to appear his superhero self. As he does so, Hespera and Kalypso appear up, and Kalypso employments the staff to depower Freddy. His teacher, Diedrich Bader, comes up to mediate, but Kalypso employments her control to create the educator walk off the roof to his passing. Sometime recently they can hurt Freddy. Anthea employments her control to control the environment. The Shazam kin them arrive to undertake and battle. But Freddy tries to hold them back or they will be depowered too. The sisters make a stage with Freddy as their prisoner, floating high into the sky until Hespera shapes a monster arch around the city, catching everything and everybody interior. Shazam can as it were observe as Freddy is taken. Freddy is detained with the wizard, who, formally meets him and learns of his connection to Billy. The wizard considers choosing Billy as the winner to be a disappointment on his portion, and so he flounders in his cell. Whereas Freddy tries to think of an elude arrange. The wizard tells him anything he considers of would be futile against the girls. Freddy's kin at that point utilize Steve to compose a letter to the girls to undertake and reason with them for Freddy's secure discharge. Kalypso instep torments Freddy with her powers and traps him and the wizard in a pit with their mythical beast, Ladon the World Ender. Ladon's powers cause Freddy and the wizard to be incapable to run, but Anthea employments her powers to free them. Sometime recently Ladon can slaughter them. Billy, as Shazam, orchestrates a meeting with Hespera to undertake and get Freddy back and to urge freed of the Arch. She arrives and communicates her outrage at youngsters taking the powers of the divine beings when she sees them as unworthy. When the rest of the kin appear up, Kalypso gets the drop on them and employments the staff to depower Pedro. Shazam battles Hespera underground, where she endeavors to wrap Mary and Darla in wires, and Hespera tries to utilize an expansive ball of melded materials to assault Shazam. But he employments his super speed to put her within the way of her possessed shot, thumping her out and permitting the kin to bring her back to the shake of forever. The kin detain Hespera and attempt to go over what to do another, but not long after, Darla finds that Hespera has gotten away. They realize that she continuously expecting to be captured. She goes through their library and picks up what Billy thought was a paperweight when it was really a brilliant apple secured in dark tidy. The kin take after her as she brings the apple to Kalypso and Anthea. In the interim, Freddy and the wizard endeavor to secure the apple themselves since Kalypso suggests planting the seed of life on soil and unleashing their armed force of beasts. Freddy nearly oversees to induce absent with the apple but draws the sisters' consideration. Shazam makes his way in and snatches the staff, but Kalypso takes it back. The wizard returns Freddy his powers as they elude. Kalypso endeavors to utilize the staff against them, in spite of Hespera's orders, but Kalypso considers her sisters have gotten soft. She at that point summons Ladon to rise and go after the champions. The heroes run to Victor and Rosa to urge them to security, but they have to become clean over their superhero personalities. Pedro too employments the opportunity to come out as cheerful to the family. But they all knew as of now and are strong of him. Ladon at that point starts to chomp through the house, driving everybody to run into the van and drive into the city. Kalypso chases after them whereas riding Ladon, and she depowers everybody but Billy sometime recently snatching the apple. She brings it to the Lincoln money-related field and places the apple within the ground, growing the tree of life and giving birth to ghastly creatures that start to assault and slaughter blameless civilians. The wizard tells the kin that there's one constraint that can battle the beasts. And that's the unicorns. Be that as it may, he tells them, mostly an excited Darla, that they are not just like the lovely horses in stories, but are savage animals who despise people. After learning what can conciliate unicorns, they learn that one of them is ambrosia. And Darla has an thought. They find the unicorns, and she bolsters them Skittles, which the unicorn increases in value and has its individual unicorns arrive to let the siblings mount them and charge into the city to battle the beasts. Anthea endeavors to urge through to her sisters since the Tree of Life does not have a place on soil. When it seems that Hespera has come around and will go against Kalypso, she employments Ladon to skewer Hespera, and after that employments the staff to depower Anthea. She endeavors to go after her sisters herself after assembly with the Shazam family, and whereas Freddy goes after her, she kisses him so he may stay behind and not get harmed. Billy settle that it is up to him and him alone to spare the day. He includes a brief conversation with Rosa in his typical adolescent frame, as he considers he will get kicked out of the house due to maturing out of the cultivate framework, but she tells him he will continuously have a domestic with them. Shazam finds Kalypso and Ladon as they about slaughter Freddy and Anthea, and he oversees to swipe the staff from her so she may chase after him. He finds Hespera's body and oversees to resuscitate her so that she may offer assistance halt Kalypso by catching her interior the arch. Shazam baits Kalypso to the field, and Hespera oversees to recoil the arch down to the measure of the stadium, rankling Kalypso. Billy's family observes from exterior the arch as he faces off against the irate goddess and her mythical beast. He employments the staff to control himself up and bash Ladon's confront, and the dragon's fire causes his suit to burn to a fresh, reminiscent of a certain black-suited antihero. Shazam at that point charges himself up with the staff, summoning a capable jolt of lightning that devastates the arch and annihilates both Kalypso and Ladon to fiery remains. Hespera unobtrusively recognizes Billy as both a saint and a god. Sometime recently she as well passes on for great. The family runs into the field to discover Billy, and Freddy finds his dead body by the remains of the tree. In spite of their endeavors to wake him up, Billy truly is dead. The wizard brings the family, also Anthea, to the domain of the divine beings to grant Billy a appropriate burial. The wizard states that with Anthea losing her powers and her sisters dead, there are no divine beings cleared out that may restore Billy, until a voice calls out, "There is one." The family turns around to discover none other than Wonder Lady, Lady Godot. She gotten an prior message from Billy, and she employments her goddess powers to control up the staff over Billy's grave to resuscitate him, and in turn re-establishes the powers to Anthea and the kin. Billy, as Shazam, at that point rises from his grave and embraces his family. He at that point endeavors to shoot his shot with Ponder Lady, but she tells him to stay to sparing the world. The family returns domestic after repairing it, and they have taken Anthea in as well since she and Freddy are presently an official couple. They are gone to buy the wizard, who is presently choosing to live life on Earth as a civilian rather than squandering absent in another domain. He is grateful to the family for making a difference him, and they see him as a companion as well. Billy at that point inquires the wizard what his possessed superhero title is, and he tells him it has continuously been Shazam. Mid-credits scene, Amelia Harcourt, Jennifer Holland, and John Economos, Steve Agee, walk into a put within the woods where Shazam is practicing his powers. They offer him an welcome to the Equity Society per Amanda Waller's orders. In spite of the fact that he acknowledges some time recently they wrap up talking since he thought he was getting welcomed to the Equity Association. Shazam at that point considers of superior names for the Equity Society since it's confounding having two superhero groups with Justice in their title. Post-credits scene, Dr. Savannah, check solid, proceeds to live in his cell, frantic for a way to recover his control. He is met once more by Mr. Intellect, David F. Sandberg, but Savannah is disappointed that Mr. Intellect showed up to arrange something with him, as it were to forsake Savannah for a long time. Mr. Intellect demands that their plans will before long be set in motion, only to once more crawl out of Savannah's cell.
Thanks for watching our video. As we wrap things up, we want to say a big thank you for being a part of our awesome community. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our future adventures. We appreciate all the likes, comments, and support you've given us. It's because of viewers like you that we're able to keep creating great content. So stay tuned for more exciting videos coming your way. Remember, you're the reason we do what we do. Without you, our channel wouldn't be the same. So, until next time, take care, stay awesome. And keep spreading the positivity. See you soon.